Good evening to SECAC.
Muy buenas noches a todas, a SECAC, a esta reunión del Comité de Consultoría de Ciudadanos de Educación Especial.
It is 7 o'clock and I do want to make sure that I honor everyone's time.
Bueno, son las 7 de la noche y quiero asegurarme de rendir honor al tiempo de todos ustedes. I'm going to give them the indications about how to proceed if they want interpretation. Mi nombre es Luis Mejía, yo soy el intérprete para español asignado a esta reunión. Si ustedes quieren ver a los presentadores, pero escuchar esta conferencia en español, por favor, al pie de su pantalla van a encontrar el icono de un globo terrestre. Pueden hacer un clic ahí y escoger la opción español. Si quieren escuchar esta conferencia en español, tener la posibilidad de ver a los presentadores, pero escucharla en español. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. All right, I think we have everyone situated. That said, we're going to go ahead and open up our meeting. My name is Kia Middleton Murphy. I am the Acting Director of Special Education Services. I'm so very happy that we have all of these wonderful faces with us tonight. I also have Miss Amy Kropp, if she would come off mute and introduce herself.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I'm Amy Kropp, Director of Pre-K Special Programs and Related Services. Nice to have you all here tonight.
And we also have Miss Diana Wiles. Would you come off mute, please?
Good evening. Diana Wiles, Associate Superintendent for Special Education, and welcome to SECAC for December.
All right. We want to make sure that we also introduce our co-chairs. I know that Amy Bloom indicated that she could not be here, but I do see Miss Brooke Levy, if you could come off mute.
Hi, my name is Brooke Levy. I'm a parent of a high schooler who receives special education services, and I have two other children who are typically developing, one in high school also, and one who's already graduated from MCPS, and I'm the Executive Director of the Down Syndrome Network of Montgomery County. Welcome.
Thank you. Dr. Huang, are you with us this evening? I'm really good with wait time. So while we're waiting for him, let's see if Miss Connie is with us.
Thank you so much, Ms. Middleton Murphy. Good evening, everybody. I'm Connie Nepomuceno. I'm a SECAC co-chair, just like Brooke, Amy, and Dr. Juan. I've been a SECAC co-chair for a couple of years now. It's a volunteer position. I'm a parent of two students with MCPA. One of my children, my son receives special education, and he's on a connections program with MCPS. So I'm very happy that you're here with us. Thank you so much for spending Monday evening with us. It's going to be a great session tonight. I'm very excited. So if you're new, welcome. We want to welcome you, and feel free to use the chat to say where you're from, how old is your child or children, and that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Miss Connie, I'm going to make you laugh. I did all this practice before you came into the Zoom, and then I chickened out by trying to pronounce your last name, Nepomuceno.
You got it. Yes, I will never correct anybody. That's off the record. I will never, but yeah, no, you said it perfectly.
No, you're going to correct me. Names are so we're going to work on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want everybody to know Miss Brooke and Miss Connie are excellent resources. So please do not hesitate to reach out to any one of us. We are here to support you. And of course, we have Mary Beth Matsuranas. If you would come off mute and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Beth Mansuranis. I'm the Family Support Services Coordinator for MCPS. It's great to see you all tonight.
Thank you so much. Is Winter Bingham with us? Dr. Bingham, are you here? Okay, I told you before I was good with wait time. So when Winter comes to join us, we certainly want to give her an opportunity. That said, I would like to review the agenda with everyone. We've had our welcome. We are going to make sure that we hear from our favorite superintendent, Dr. Monifa McKnight. Miss Diana Wiles will, of course, introduce her. And then after the updates from our superintendent, we will have a few announcements. And we want to make sure that we give our rec partner an opportunity to share any updates with us, as she has always done so willingly. So without hesitation and further ado, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Mary Beth. I know she had a few updates for us.
Okay, I think yeah. So I think really I just wanted everyone to know that the Family Support Center, the webpage, is continuing to add resources, and we add those based on parent feedback and need. So the link is there, but if you just go to Montgomery County's webpage and you just type in Family Support Center, or if you type in special ed, you'll get there. And so there's lots and lots of different resources there for families. So please make sure that you're taking advantage of that. And with the holiday break coming up, we want to make sure to let you know, put it on your calendars, that on January the 9th of 2024 at 6:30, we're going to do a virtual meeting, actually with, Kia just referenced, Montgomery County Department of Recreation and Montgomery County Parks. And basically, this is your chance as parents to hear about summer camps prior to them going live, and registration opening for everybody. So this is an opportunity for you to kind of hear like what the plan is in terms of ESY pickup, if your kid is going to do a half day, or if you're interested in full day programs. So there will be information on the camps and on therapeutic services. So the Zoom link is there, and I will also push out a flyer in the weeks once we get back. There's one over there on the left side of my page that Derek is pointing out for all of you now. So again, it'll be a great chance for you to hear about what the offerings are prior to them going live. So hopefully we'll see you all on January the 9th. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Wiles.
So good evening again. Thank you all for being here this evening. The Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee is really an important part of the work that we do in special education for MCPS, and it's a way for us to make sure that we are working collaboratively with our parents and our advocates and our stakeholders. This is a very special evening because we have our superintendent, Dr. Monifa McKnight, here with us tonight, who is going to bring us some words and provide us some updates. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Dr. McKnight.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and being with us tonight. Thank you for inviting me to be able to come to the SECAC meeting. I look forward to coming every year when you invite me, and so I do look forward to our discussion tonight. So I, in this season of gratitude and thanks, I first just want to say thank you to our families for everything that you've done. Thanks to the staff members as you continue to work with our families and support them. And just thank you to everyone for being leaders in special education. I'll say that I know, the work that we do absolutely requires a lot of attention, great attention, care, and partnership, most importantly. And so I just want to thank you all as our community members for trusting us in Montgomery County Public Schools to serve your students. And most importantly, to be able to help them as they develop on their journey. We take that seriously, and we know that we do it best in partnership with you. So tonight, I'm just going to talk a little bit about just how we have watched and supported our students over time and work with our families, and how special education has shifted, quite frankly, over the last couple of years in MCPS. So overall in MCPS, we serve more than 22,000 students, okay? And we serve more than 22,000 students with disabilities. And this has been a population that has grown significantly over the last few years. And when you think about a program that grows significantly, and most importantly, significantly over the last 2 years, as we have gone through COVID and then coming out of COVID, it just requires more time, more money, and more people to be able to meet the needs of a growing population. And so this past Thursday, when I presented my operating budget, I introduced the fact that, we devote millions of dollars to account for our increase in services and students. with receiving special education services. So with that said, sometimes resources just don't take care of everything. I also want to say, as we think about resources not taking care of everything, we have to think about what are the needs that we actually have right now in this present time. And one really that I've talked a lot about is, you know, how we are able to staff and hire our teachers and support staff that provide services to our students receiving special education services. And this is not just a story in Montgomery County. It really is a story across the United States, in the state of Maryland and in MCPS. It's a challenging time for special educators. And, you know, we've gotten creative and are going to continue to be creative in thinking about how do we meet the needs of today. So most importantly, I am committed to working with our staff, our schools, and our families to help meet these needs and to engage in conversations about what more, what differently do we need to do to address the growing needs that we see in our system. So this year, I've actually started that by going out and participating in listening sessions. I started a opportunity at the beginning of this year, which was entitled Listen to Lead. And so I've been going out and listening to staff members. And in multiple sessions, I've heard staff members describe the dedication that they have to special education students. But they also talked a lot about the additional supports that they need to serve students in the classroom and in the schools overall. And I've been listening carefully to that and talking to Ms. Wiles about that and saying, you know, what more do we need to do and how much more listening do we need to do to really think about a plan that's going to help us continue to accelerate services and most importantly, make sure those services are the right ones to meet all of our student needs. So we've been engaging in discussions. I know she's developed a number of groups, and we will continue to develop groups over the next couple of months because we want to spend a lot of time gathering information. But for now, I do want to say that we have really aligned the 3 pillars of our MCPS strategic plan to really think about how is it that those priorities within this strategic plan apply to special education. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that tonight, just understanding the 3 pillars of the strategic plan and just hearing from you about how you see some of the alignment that is occurring, that's actually working, some things that you want us to continue to think about and look at, and any experiences overall that you just like to share. So I'll start by talking about the 3 pillars. The first is academic excellence. The second pillar is well-being and family engagement. And then the third pillar is professional and operational excellence. So let's start with academic excellence. So within that pillar, we absolutely are committed to providing instruction to students from pre-kindergarten all the way up to age 21 to improve just overall student outcomes. And we also want to provide access to specifically or specially designed instruction in the least restrictive environment in our students' neighborhood schools. So we've been very intentional about that. And to do so, we're often using a lot of evidence and research-based reading and mathematics interventions so that we're able to target students' individual needs and provide them with the services that we believe will benefit them. And we're actually starting to see some results there. For example, when we were comparing our 2023 data to the year before 2022 in evidence of learning, we saw an 11-point gain in literacy for our 2nd graders and a 9-point gain for our 8th graders. And so we were continuing to look at what were the things that happened within those grade levels that were able to yield us some results. And so we went right back to what were some of those evidence and research-based programs in reading and mathematics that we started using a couple of years ago that we're now beginning to see the results and continuing to see the results. So that's one area. The second area that I mentioned is well-being and family engagement. And so we absolutely have heard from our community and continue to be committed to implementing a culturally responsive family engagement and empowering families to really partner with MCPS. And we do that through providing teacher-led parent workshops and training sessions that are designed to ensure student learning. And so we have developed a family resource center. And I remember last year when we talked about the need and the support for that, but it definitely seeks to increase the parental involvement and assist our families in decision-making and in dissemination of information. This is something I've heard over the last few years about, you know, it being very difficult sometimes to think about the context of what your child's needs are and really feeling like you have the trust within the room to make the right decisions for your child. And most importantly, that the people in the room having the conversations about your child needs, know those needs really well, and come to the conversations with the best plan supports that they can offer. And then also we've continued to hear how overloaded the information is that our families have to process. So we're really hoping that that Family Resource Center continues to support our families in those ways to just kind of work through, again, that decision making and processing so much information as you're working through the process. We also continue to highlight monthly opportunities and workshops for parents, just about a wide variety of needs or information that we find will be valuable to you. And that information comes up from what we hear you need. And we also have hired, as you know, our special education liaison to help serve as a neutral third party to provide families with support. And I heard earlier her name being mentioned, but Dr. Winter Bingham, I mean, she has been an incredible support. And as a matter of fact, I want to thank some of you, because when you're working through situations and you have Dr. Bingham involved, some of you have reached out and shared with me how helpful the process has been. And that's exactly what I need for you to do, because as we try to come up with new and improve ways to do things, we want to know if it's working. And so when I established that position a year ago, the goal was to be able to have someone who could continue to work through the process and could, help our families work through really difficult situations. So as you email me and share with me things that don't work, please also share with me the resources that we have created in the system that are working, because that is very helpful. And especially in a time, particularly thinking about my budget release last Thursday, in which we often have to defend, what programs we're finding success and which we are not. When, we are asking to, look at our budget and think about places to make cuts, I want to be able to have the narratives and the data. And sometimes that's qualitative data from you saying, we've heard from this number of parents, and these are supports that really, really work for them, and we need them to stay here, and this is why. So I just say that because just sharing that feedback with me becomes very important as you, share with your school staffs as well. So the third area or pillar of the strategic plan is, as I said earlier, professional and operational excellence. And we're delivering culturally relevant professional development to staff members who work with students receiving special education services. And that has been a key focus and investment for us. So we're providing training across key areas, including areas like de-escalation and self-regulation. We also focus on identifying students with cognitive disabilities and behavioral management, among a list of other things that we recognize are critical areas to continue to build up the experience and understanding and professional learning of our staff. And then at the same time, we also understand the impact of staffing challenges, which have resulted in special education staff vacancies. And we've employed contractors to fill paraeducator and teacher vacancies where possible. Now, I wanted to talk about that a little bit because, as you know, our cycle of hiring teachers go way beyond the time in which we open up schools in August. So we continue to hire in August, September, October, and just keep that hiring process open. But when we recognize that the pool has basically gone dry for a period of time, while we like having the consistency of all of our employers who have a relationship with the organization to provide those needs, most importantly, what we want to make sure we have is a person who is qualified and credentialed to be able to provide our students with the supports that they need. So that is why we have also looked at, in which places is it appropriate and necessary for us to use contractors. And so we'd rather do that than to have our staff and our students without what they need. And so that's been something that we have continued to do, and to make sure we're providing the support that we need to our schools. And then the third thing I wanted to say under operations is we continue to look at different models to offer services in a way that makes certain that we can provide our students with the services that they need. And as I was just talking about the contractors being used, I mean, we have to operate today differently in ways that we have not had to think about before. The labor market is different. We're working with our universities to continue to make sure they're looking at enrollment. We are incentivizing staff, but that's why we're at a point where we're saying we've got to be really creative in looking at our model and making sure that our model is the right one to provide our students with what it is that they need. And, you know, our labor market has really shifted in the last couple of years, and it's impacted us and every other school system in the state and in the nation in this area. So I have charged Ms. Wiles with really taking months to, again, pull in others and engage in conversation around what does our structure of services need to look like. I am not convinced that the structures that we've had over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years are exactly what we need today. Some of it, yes. Some of it, I'm not sure that it still applies. Every year when we get ready to start the year and we have to look at a vast number of vacancies, and then we often hear about educator burnout, and we look at the growing needs of students. You know, I think we need more staffing in different ways, but we want to be smart about what it is that we need. So I want to thank Ms. Wiles for her commitment to continuing to work with many others for us to come together and really design out what do we need today to make sure we're providing the services that we need to provide for students and our staff so that they can both be successful in the classroom and in our schools. That's our commitment. That's why we're here, and that's what we have to be dedicated to doing. So I wanted to share those 3 areas with you of focus from our strategic plan, because those are the 3 pillars that continue to drive our work. And I want to thank you. That's basically what I wanted us to talk about tonight. But I do look forward to our continued partnership. And we actually hope to see you all at the upcoming Community Resource Fair that's scheduled for Saturday, April 27th. I know that's a long time from now. It's going to be at Blair High School from 10 to 1, but I figured it's important to tell you early and let you know that we look forward to your participation there so that we can continue to have you involved in meaningful ways as we do the work that we do to provide our students with what they need and our staff. So I will stop there and pause and turn it back to Ms. Wiles to facilitate any discussion.
Thank you, Dr. McKnight, and thank you for joining us this evening and really giving us us and SECAC perspective on where we are in special education and the work that we're doing to continue to support our students. So there are a few questions in the chat, so I will try to get to those. The first question, it says, I'm curious about professional development and why it's only a select set of staff. Behavior management and training on de-escalation would benefit more than special education teachers. Is it possible to recruit special education teachers with a bonus similar to DC, what they did with their social workers? So
is that one question?
That was 2 questions from the same person.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you break the 2 up? What was the first one?
I sure can. The first one was on professional development for behavior management. And if you'd like for me to take that one, I certainly can take that one.
Okay, I'm actually trying to pull up the chat so I can read it.
Okay.
Them. Oh, and then I went all the way back to the beginning. All right, let me try to figure out.
Yeah, I started from.
Go ahead and start, Ms. Wiles, on
Okay.
the first one, and I'll pick it up.
Sure. So we actually have targeted schools that we do behavior management training, not just for our special education staff, but also for our general educators, our social workers. So it is a joint effort. Some of the schools we've targeted because of grant funding to support the reduction of suspensions of our students with disabilities. But we continue to try to grow that effort so that we have teachers, not just special educators, but general educators, counselors, social workers that are employing the behavior management strategies that we use, because they have been shown to be effective for students, both with and without disabilities.
Ms.
Um,
Wiles, if I could just add to that, the de-escalation professional learning is open to general education teachers as well. There's an asynchronous course. So I know that the question asked about it, but it specifically asked or stated that it would benefit more than special education teachers. So I just want to emphasize that it is open to all teachers.
Thank you, Kia. I was just getting ready to say that absolutely, because this has been something that a number of our teachers have just asked for and just management support within the classroom. So, and to that point, we actually, in our inclusion model, we need all of our staff, our special educators and our general educators to utilize these strategies. I mean, I always say the biggest benefit we can give to our students is giving them an array of teachers who are equipped to work with them and support them. So that's why the professional development, absolutely, I agree with that comment. You know, I think it's from Esther, yes, that, you know, goes beyond just the special education teachers, because it's really important for everyone. I saw another question here now that I have the chat pulled up. Thank you for your patience. It said, I'd like to learn more about the specific steps to recruit and retain special education teachers and staff. So we have done a variety of things, and I tell you, we've learned a lot as well. So we have tried to incentivize in a number of different ways. We worked with our associations. It was actually last year to when we still had the flexibility of using our ESSER funds in a number of different ways to provide a significant bonus to any teachers who had special education certification, but who were assigned as general education teachers. And we actually thought that was going to give us, you know, quite a bit of interest. And we found out quickly it did not. I think out of the entire system, we had less than 5. Can't remember, it was less than 5 or 10, but remember, we have a lot of teachers who were interested. And so that actually got our attention, you know, because we recognize at that point, it's not just about financial incentives, but we, you know, that spoke to me loud and clear, saying that our teachers want to make sure that they're able to have what they need and that they're able to manage all the things that they're expected to do as special education teachers. So, you know, that's why I spoke earlier about, you know, what we've learned most is that it goes beyond incentives and financial incentives, but we really have to look at our model and look at the load so that our teachers feel like they have the support that they need to be able to serve our students well and, you know, strike some type of balance between the services they provide in the classroom, the paperwork, the connection with our families, and keeping up with the data that they have to include in the IEPs. So, so that's been one big lesson we've learned from recruiting and trying to retain our staff, that is not just about incentivizing financially, but it is about the working conditions. So we've done that. We've also searched wide with looking at where we recruit teachers. And that's why we've become so familiar with this being not just a Montgomery County challenge. It's one that we're experiencing a lot locally and nationally. But Ms. Wiles, I know you have actually gone out with our recruiter, Mr. Rivera. We put Ms. Wiles on the road herself. We figured what better way than to have our associate superintendent of special educations out there with the recruiters so that she can speak specifically about our schools and how we are working to continue to design programs for this to be a place in which our teachers want to come work and feel supported in the work that they're doing. So she has been out personally with our recruiters, and I think that has yielded some really good positive conversations so that, you know, as people are potential employees or thinking about joining us, they can get the specific questions answered. So that's been great. So those are a few things I'd say about recruitment and retaining. I'm going down the list. Ms. Wiles, you can pick the next question if you saw one.
Sure. There was a question, is it possible to recruit special education teachers with a bonus similar to DC and what they did with social workers? So you kind of touched on that already, but I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Bonus similar to DC. So what was the bonus in DC?
I do not know.
I can say DC started a program at the University of District of Columbia for a master's level in social workers, and they are paying for their tuition. But in response to that is that they go and they have to work as a social worker in the District of Columbia. And I know they do that with other social worker programs, especially around child and family services, because that's always the space, but they're required for 2 years to at least work after they've received the education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So we absolutely do provide reimbursement of tuition to our teachers who go into our programs, particularly the programs that we're looking to do more recruitment, special education being one. So we do provide that. I feel like what we found though is that even at one point, if you went back and got your master's, you were able to move up on the scale for having, getting incentivized financially for getting your master's degree. But I mean, again, we found, and this is why we're engaging in this deep work group work, is that when staff has previously been incentivized or acknowledged for getting another degree and, receiving more pay and incentives for that, it's really come down to what is it that they need to be able to do their work in a more manageable way. And so, while we have that, I am convinced that when we finish this work and all this outreach that we're doing and all of the engagement with staff, I really think it's going to come down to just some significant differences in the models that we use that just help people feel more supported. I mean, hold my word to this. We're going to remember this December 18th. I believe that that's going to be the thing that changes it. Because I mean, that's interesting that you say that. I mean, we're all trying to do that. I think we were offering upwards like $10,000. That was the incentive that we were offering to anybody who could move into special education. And in education, that's pretty significant. But we're really hearing it's about changing in management of responsibilities. So I think that's going to be the thing that turns the corner for us.
I did want to add to that question. We have some really strong partnerships with colleges and universities in the area. Amy Kropp put in the chat, we do have a program with University of Maryland for our speech pathologists. And we usually have about 3 that join us each year that are graduating from their master's program. We have partnerships with Towson, with Johns Hopkins, George Washington University. So we really have some strong partnerships. We have paraeducators that are in the class now that are working towards certification to become teachers. And then we also have a partnership with Moreland University where we are putting together a cohort of provisionally certified teachers so that they can become fully certified.
Yeah, and we also, we're looking at how we address short-term needs and long-term needs. We've been establishing or have established our teacher programs within our high schools. And one big piece is really just motivating our high school students to go into these specific areas of teaching. And so that also has been something that we have established. Now, of course, we won't yield the benefit of that for another, 4 or 5 years, but at least it is about trying to activate a longer term solution as well. And we know right now that's just getting more people interested and invested in being teachers for special education services.
Dr. McKnight, I will add to that we were very excited to hire a few high school graduates this past summer who worked with some of our students in extended school year services. So I definitely believe that it makes a difference because they get the opportunity to have that hands-on experience. I also wanted to add that we had OT and PT, occupational therapy and physical therapy interns from Howard University with us this school year. So we are looking at all aspects of our related services as well as our teachers.
Thank you, Kia. Much appreciated for that. So it's when I say that, I was like, it's exciting news. And I always think about what is it that motivates us as educators to go into the professions that we're in. And when you listen to students who become teachers talk about their journey, oftentimes it's because it's been someone who helped them help that student, which inspired them to want to then help someone else. And so I think also, you know, a space in which we're looking at in terms of why we want to make the work more manageable for our teachers and find the right structure is so that our teachers can really have that time, space to focus on their students, to actually encourage them and just motivate them to want to become those teachers. There's nothing like, you know, being in need and having someone meet that need and developing an appreciation for that. That's what stays with you. And so when we can have our staff continue to move forward and be able to put all of their time and attention and focus into our students in a way that our students see this made a difference in my life, then you know that we're moving in the right direction. We have those students come back to say, you know what, I too want to become a special education teacher because someone helped me. And so I come back to the importance of giving our teachers what they need to be successful.
I don't see any more questions in the chat. Actually, someone just put one in. Do you have different strategies for recruiting critical staff?
Wiles, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So the critical staff positions are a little challenging because they are positions that some of which are not benefited positions, but I've been meeting with our advocacy partners, getting the information out to them, getting the word out to them to let them know that we have these positions available, to see if they have within their networks people who may want to work with our students in those critical staff positions. I actually just met with our director of human resources and development, Miss Ella Bradley, and we were talking about different ways that we can continue to recruit those critical staff positions. It is challenging, but we want to start doing something like targeting our community colleges for students who may be in school and just want to pick up some hours of work. And to, as Dr. McKnight said, that might be a great opportunity for them to see education in action, and may encourage them to go into the field. So we are certainly focused on trying to fill those positions because we know how important they are to supporting teachers in the classroom.
All right. So the next question here, everybody's getting warmed up. Great. Would you speak to the different models that seem to be presenting themselves in the data you are collecting from your listening sessions? So yes, I can speak to generally, really it's been all models. For our LAD model, you know, a lot of it has been that, you know, our students who are receiving services requires that, you know, those teachers are either, or in most cases, teaching our students in the classroom with another educator, and they are providing support. But one of the biggest things that I've heard, you know, are that it's the support in the classroom, but it's also the data collection to stay up on top of the IEP progress, to be able to communicate that with parents, and the arduous amount of paperwork that just needs to be done. And so, you know, that's the LAD model has been one. I've also heard a lot about our pre-K programs in which, you know, that also seems to be a program in which students are coming in with more significant needs. And when I think about the students coming into those programs, you know, these are students who were 2 and 2-year-olds when we first started managing COVID-19, and who would have had an opportunity to, you know, have more social time and development of skills earlier and during the pandemic. they have also missed out on some of that. And so we're seeing some of that come up in our kindergarten and pre-K areas. So those were two that stand out that I heard a lot about in my listen to lead sessions. We were just getting them off of the ground, actually, the listen to lead sessions in middle of September and October. And then, as you know, I'd been out for a period because of my health. But now that I'm back, I am going to pick up on that. And that's why I didn't want us to rush to have like a work group around special education services that met for, a month or two. Our charge is to really spend the time. And we may not come back with some changes around some true structural needs until the spring, in which we've had a chance to really work this through and get out and talk to more staff and more parents and all who are being impacted in the ways that we've talked about tonight. All right, I see another
Next
question. Dr. McKnight, thank you again for being with us this evening. Would you be providing any recommendations to the governor for the budget? I would love that opportunity. I would love that opportunity. I will tell you that as a leader in the PAZAM group, which is the group of superintendents across the state of Maryland, we actually have been coming together, and a conversation that we've had in which we want to write some joint advocacy around is actually to the Maryland State Department of Education, just saying that we want to come up with some very creative ways in which we are able to get additional funding, not just for special education, but also funding for models that we found to be successful that are different. And I have to tell you, I did raise my hand and say, hey, we're already doing that, in Montgomery County. We're hoping to actually bring some things back when we work with our community over the next few months to really figure out what the structures are that we're going to need. But you're absolutely right, Connie. We're going to need whatever those structures are, we're going to need the financial support for it. So that's why we're going to be working with you and everybody else along the way, because it may be all of us, coming back to the governor or, doing some combined advocacy to the state to say, listen, we've spent a significant amount of time talking to teachers, talking to parents, talking to students, and this is what we feel that we need, and we want to be able to try this, and we don't want to worry about not having the funding to serve students in the way that we need to. So there will be much opportunity to be able to do that, but I like being able to combine that advocacy with other groups so that we are able to really get the attention that we need, that should be given to topics like this that we want to bring or shine a light on for others to say, this is something that we really need your help in. But yes, Connie, you gave me an idea. So next year, instead of us waiting for the governor's budget, we should say, listen, as you are considering your budget, I'm taking that back to the superintendents. I like it. I actually really like that. We normally sit and wait to hear what the funding is going to be. And then we start advocacy based on that. But you're absolutely right. I think, and now since we're going to be doing the work to say, this is what we found locally that works for us. And you know what works for us in Montgomery County may not be what works for everybody else. But getting that support up front, saying we've done the work, we've spent time talking, looking at models and figuring out what we need, and this is what we need, and we need the money for it. And I would say that's often respected when we do that work in collaboration, and we have a strong advocacy community here in Montgomery County. So I see all of us putting that to good use once we go through our work together to really look at our structures and come out with some strong recommendations.
So Dr. McKnight, we really appreciate your time this evening. This has been an exceptional opportunity for our SECAC members and participants to hear from you, to hear your commitment to special education. I know the Office of Special Education truly appreciates you continuing to advocate for the needs of our students as well as our parents and advocacy groups. So thank you again. I tried to use wait time. I'm terrible with wait time, but I don't see any more questions in the chat.
I know I've been monitoring it too, to see if there's anything that comes up before I go off. But I do want to say thank you to our families. I love coming to SECAC when you all invite me to come in and talk with you. And please, please continue to stay involved. As Ms. Wiles formed these work groups, I really need you to come and tell your stories about, you know, what has been your experience with your child, with your child's schools, because as we develop changes in our structures that we need today and now, it needs to be centered in real experiences that we have in order to improve. So we really want you to be a part of that. And I also want to say, as we go into the holiday season, I want to wish you and your families well. It's almost like as an MCPS community, we have a little separation of family for a period of time when we have these holidays, but know that we love and care for you and your families deeply, and so appreciative for your partnership. And as you are spending this time with your children, just make sure that you spend that time to continue to love one another, and just know that we look forward to you returning in the new year when we do come back happy and healthy and ready to work. Because as I said tonight, we do have a lot to do. So I'm looking forward to us continuing to engage. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. McKnight. Always good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Take care. So again, of course, we are a fortunate group because we do have the eye, the ear, and of course, the words to support us with our efforts. And so we will continue to have Dr. McKnight join us as she is able to do so. We normally have our partner from the Department of Maryland Department of Recs and Recreation, Parks and Recreation, forgive me. Is she here?
This is Sharon Norcio, and yes, I am here.
Yes.
I am here. So yes, hi everybody. Great to be on and hear what's happening. We are planning for summer camps, and as Mary Beth mentioned earlier, we will be doing a special presentation just about special ed and inclusion options on January 9th. So excited to do that, and our partners over at the Parks Department will be joining us. So that's exciting, because if the water's liquid, it's us, and if it's frozen, it's Parks, because they have all the ice rinks. So we like to be able to present together so that if people have questions about nature camps or things that they offer, Janine will be able to give details and answer questions that anybody may have. So that's a really fun opportunity. Just want to remind folks that we are still doing Rec Assist, which is our financial aid program for families that qualify for that. And for all county residents, we are offering the Fit in 24 Pass, which is open gyms, game rooms, anything that's sort of a drop-in nature at our community centers is free to county residents. So you can just stop into any of our community centers at the front desk and tell them you want the Fit in 24 Pass, and it enables you and your family. And some of our families, like over at East County, we have family gym time. The gym schedules will vary a little bit for the winter season, as we have started basketball practices, and the first weekend in January, we will be launching our basketball program. And we have, I think 8,000 youth playing basketball from pre-K all the way up through high school. So super excited about that. And then we will have 2 camp fairs. One is at East County, which is in that sort of Burtonsville corridor. And that one is on Sunday, January 7th. And then on Sunday, January 14th, we will be having one at North Potomac. So if you don't make the online version, you're certainly welcome to come out to one of our on-site ones. We will have Gaga pits and arts and crafts and stuff for the kids. And we will have many of our contractors on site to also answer questions, as well as our seasonal staff. So lots of fun stuff happening in rec. And again, we wish everybody a very, very happy holiday season, whatever that looks like for your family, because there is no one right way to holiday when you've got special ed involved in your life. So whatever works for your family, I hope that you guys make choices that make everybody happy and you enjoy your time together.
Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here. It's always an honor.
Absolutely. We have many, many, many staff members from the Department of Special Education Services, as well as pre-K special programs and related services. So I do want to make sure that I thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. Those are instructional specialists, special education service supervisors. We also have coordinators. I think that I've covered all the positions. We do want to hear just a little bit more from Ms. Stacy Heinze. So if you could come off mute, Stacy.
Absolutely. You know, as we come to a close for our December meeting, I just want to remind everybody that we always want your feedback. I'm going to drop in the chat, and it'll be linked on our webpage too, where you can continue to share your ideas, your areas of interest as we plan our remaining SECAC meetings for this school year, in addition to signing up for public comment and requesting an interpreter. The second link I'm going to drop in is to give your feedback on this meeting. We always love to hear from you. There's been some great ideas shared that we have already put to use. So I want to thank you for that. If you do sign up for comment, I will reach out to you prior to the meeting to let you know that I've received your message and talk to you about the process for that. So again, we look forward to hearing from you, and thank you all for being here.
Okay. So I did find one other person. I saw Sarah Starr. So thank you for being here, Sarah Starr, the principal of Longview School. If there are no other announcements, I just want to check in with the Office of Special Education. I'm just trying to act like I hear music for some wait time. Okay, I think that we have covered all of our guests tonight, and parents, of course. We thank you for always being with us each and every month. I encourage you to fill out the evaluation so that we are meeting your needs and making sure that you receive what you need for our students and for your students. So I wish everyone a happy new year, and I thank you again for being with us this evening. Take care, everyone.